Fourth Trumpet, the fall of temporal power of the Holy See in 1870. Revelation 8:12 describes the fourth trumpet judgment, which brings darkness upon the sun, moon, and stars, symbolizing a dramatic loss of power. This imagery aligns with the events of 1848 and 1870, when the Papal States were gradually absorbed into a unified Italy, culminating in the complete loss of the Pope's temporal authority. The fourth trumpet marks the fulfillment of the 1260-day for a year prophecy, one of the most significant time prophecies in Scripture. This period, spanning from 606 CE to 1870 CE, represents the height and subsequent fall of the papal temporal rule, fulfilling the words of Revelation regarding the diminishing of the papal system's power. The fourth trumpet, the darkening of the sun, moon, and stars. The fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them turned dark. A third of the day was without light, and also a third of the night. Revelation 8:12. In biblical symbolism, the sun represents supreme authority, the moon represents subordinate rulers, and the stars represent officials or influential figures. This trumpet describes the dimming of these celestial bodies, indicating the weakening of a great power. This corresponds with the gradual decline of papal dominance, which had once shown as the ruling force of Christendom, but now faced its inevitable downfall. The key events leading to this collapse took place in the 19th century, particularly during the revolutionary upheavals of 1848 and the final annexation of the Papal States in 1870. These events fulfilled the 1260-year prophecy and signaled the end of the Pope's political rule over Rome. The beginning of the 1260-year prophecy, Emperor Phocas and Pope Boniface III, 606 CE. The 1260-day for a year prophecy appears in multiple places in Scripture. Daniel 7:25, Revelation 11:2-3, Revelation 12:6-14, Revelation 13:5. It refers to a period of papal supremacy during which the papacy would exercise control over Christendom. This period began in 606 CE, when Emperor Phocas reaffirmed the authority of the Pope by granting Pope Boniface III the official title of Universal Bishop, making him the supreme head of the Christian Church. This decree solidified the Pope's role as the central religious authority in the Western world, marking the beginning of the papal temporal power. From this moment, the papacy would rule not only in spiritual matters, but also as a political entity. The revolutions of 1848, the first blow to papal power. The first major event fulfilling the fourth trumpet was the revolutions of 1848, a series of uprisings across Europe that threatened the established order. In Rome, revolutionaries overthrew Pope Pius IX's government, forcing him to flee to Gaeta. The establishment of the Roman Republic in 1849 marked a dramatic weakening of papal authority. Although the Pope was restored by French troops in 1850, his rule was now dependent on foreign intervention, foreshadowing the complete collapse to come. During this time, the power of the papacy was clearly dimming, much like the celestial bodies in the fourth trumpet. The Pope's political influence was waning, and the movement for Italian unification was gaining momentum. The final blow, the fall of Rome in 1870. The final fulfillment of the fourth trumpet came on September 20th, 1870, when Italian troops breached the Aurelian walls at Porta Pia and entered Rome. This marked the complete annexation of the Papal States into the Kingdom of Italy, ending the Pope's temporal power. The papacy, which had ruled over central Italy for more than a millennium, was now reduced to a spiritual authority only, confined within the walls of the Vatican. This was the final act in the 1260-year prophecy, as the power given to the papacy in 606 CE was now taken away in 1870 CE. The Pope responded by declaring himself a prisoner in the Vatican, refusing to recognize the authority of the Italian government. However, the age of papal political rule was over. The once bright sun of papal supremacy had darkened, fulfilling the prophetic vision of the fourth trumpet. The prophetic fulfillment of the fourth trumpet. The fourth trumpet accurately symbolizes the fall of the papal political order. 1. The sun darkened. The Pope, who once held supreme political authority over much of Europe, lost his temporal power. 2. The moon darkened. The subordinate rulers aligned with the papacy, including the Catholic monarchs of Europe, saw their power diminish as secular governments took control. 3. The stars fell. The papal officials and institutions that upheld papal rule lost influence as nationalism and secularism reshaped Europe. With the fall of the Papal States, the light of the papacy faded, just as Revelation 8 verse 12 foretold. Conclusion. The fourth trumpet marks one of the most significant turning points in European history and biblical prophecy. The papacy, which had ruled with unquestioned authority since 66 CE, was stripped of its temporal power in 1870, exactly 1260 years later. This dramatic event was not only a political transformation, but also a direct fulfillment of the day for a year prophecy, confirming the accuracy of biblical revelation. From this point onward, the Pope would remain a spiritual leader, but never again a ruling monarch over earthly kingdoms. The light of papal supremacy had faded, leaving only the shadow of its former glory. Thus, the fourth trumpet judgment was fulfilled through the gradual but decisive fall of papal power, setting the stage for the final events of biblical prophecy.